I wanted to talk today about um, blood choke. What we saw the other day was some folks who are trained in martial arts and jujitsu or whatever claim that George Floyd was blood choked. And I saw it was very interesting because a blood choke is not like a regular choke where, it's the obvious choke where you just cut off someone's air and you know they lose consciousness, but it's a choking, a way of doing it where you restrict blood flow to the head. We know that the heart pumps the blood and the head receives the blood that is pumped. So if you cut that off, you cut off uh, what is life sustaining for the person. Um, and so I was thinking about that, thinking about how it's literally a method of separating the heart and the head. Separating the heart and the head. What is often done to us, particularly as African Americans, is that people will try to separate our heart from our heads. Well, what do you mean? Basically, by telling us that what we see is not reality to what we feel, or vice versa, that what we feel is not what we're actually seeing. And so when we do that, that is sort of a form of trying to separate our hearts from our heads. They try to get us with whataboutisms, get us with, well, what about black on black crime? Or what about black on white crime? What about this, or what about that? And which doesn't have anything to do with anything other than trying to make us feel as though what we're seeing and what we're feeling is not real. And this isn't a new tactic. This has been a tactic that has happened for, I won't even say years, for all of human history. Even in the Garden of Eden story at the fall of Adam and Eve, the serpent pretty much tells them that what they heard God say, they really didn't hear, or that something was being withheld from them, or whatever. And so it's sort of a form of that, where what we're seeing and what we're hearing, people are trying to say that, oh no, your feelings aren't real, or your perceptions are off. What you saw in that videotape wasn't racism. What you're seeing, isn't police abuse. And some from some of our white Christian clergy. What? You're literally, in a way, in a symbolic way, blood choking black people when you do that. So not only is blood choke sort of a physical act, but it's almost, as if it's a philosophical act as well, for lack of a better word. You're trying to separate our heads from our hearts. So you're telling us that what we feel in our hearts, the emotions that we have, don't match the reality that we're seeing with our head. Yet, I've grown up in my time. I think the first major racial incident in my lifetime, I'm 40 now, was the whole Rodney King situation. What was that, 90, 91? I was 10, 11 years old. And we're still dealing with corrupt, brutal police. Why? Yet you still want to tell me that this isn't, what I'm seeing is not real. Yes, I know people are, there's fake protesters out there. There's anarchists and right wing activists that are embedding themselves in black protests. I know that. I know all of that. I see it. I've seen the videos. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about just the core of the issue was black anger with what is happening in this nation. So don't blood choke us with your rhetoric about, well, white people are killed more than by police than black people. When we're not talking totality, um, we're talking proportion. Black people are